Welcome to HD Coins World. Today, we're diving into one of the most surprising and ultra-rare 1-cent coins you might actually come across, the 1980 Lincoln cent. You might think it's just another penny, but the truth is, this Denver minted coin has hidden treasures that can be worth thousands of dollars. If you know what to look for, let's start with why this coin stands out. The 1980 Lincoln cent was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies each year. That makes it easy to overlook. But here's the secret: minting errors, rare die varieties, and unusual characteristics can turn this simple coin into a valuable collector's dream. Now, what should you look for? 1. Double die obverse, DDO. Examine Lincoln's date, liberty, and in God we trust closely. A strong doubling in these areas, especially the date and lettering, could mean you're holding a double die obverse. Use a magnifier, look for split serifs or noticeable shadow-like doubling. Coins with a strong DDO can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on condition. 2. Off-center strike. Next, check if the design is perfectly centered. If part of the design, like Lincoln's portrait or the outer rim, is missing or shifted dramatically, you may have an off-center strike. A coin that's 50% off-center and still shows the date and mint mark clearly is extremely valuable. These can fetch prices from $1,620 to over $10,000. 3. Repunched mint mark. RPM. Focus on the D mint mark. Some 1980 cents show signs of repunched mint marks, where the D appears to be doubled or shows a shadow underneath. This is due to the mint mark being stamped more than once in slightly different positions. A sharp, distinct RPM can greatly increase a coin's value, especially in uncirculated condition. 4. Broad strike and planchet errors. These are rarer, but incredibly valuable. A broad strike occurs when a coin is struck without the collar, causing it to spread out beyond the usual size. Planchet errors, such as clips, wrong metal composition, or improper thickness, also add serious value. Watch for strange edges, odd weight, or unusual surface textures. Collectors will pay a premium for these unique mistakes. 5. Condition is critical. Even with errors, the value skyrockets if your coin is in great shape. Look for a strong strike, minimal scratches, and original red luster. Coins graded MS65 or higher, especially with errors, are highly prized in the market. So, how much can the 1980 penny be worth? Let's talk real numbers. A regular circulated 1980 penny might only be worth face value. But if you've got one with the right error and in mint condition, you could be looking at serious money. A double die error in high grade has sold for up to $3,400. A dramatic off-center strike with full details recently fetched $9,200 at auction. A stunning repunched mint mark in mint state sold for $1,620. And the record? A 1980 Lincoln cent with a rare planchet error and pristine condition sold for an astonishing $27,000. So, check your change. You might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable pennies out there. Got a 1980 penny in your collection? Or have a question about coin errors? Drop a comment below. We love hearing from fellow collectors. Number 2. Today, we're exploring an ultra-rare and shockingly valuable coin that could be hiding in plain sight. The 1990 Lincoln cent. You may have seen this penny thousands of times, but did you know that certain versions of this coin have sold for thousands of dollars? That's right. This little copper-plated coin could hold secrets that collectors go wild for, if you know what to look for. So let's break it down. What makes the 1990 Lincoln cent so special? First, this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced over 4 billion Lincoln cents in 1990. But as always, the minting process isn't perfect, and that's where the value hides. Let's go through the major rare errors and key details that make this common penny extremely uncommon. 1. Double die obverse. DDO. Start by examining the words "In God we trust, liberty," and the date 1990. A true double die will show noticeable doubling on these inscriptions, almost like a shadow or a second outline. If you find this, especially with strong doubling, your coin could be worth thousands, depending on the condition. 2. Off-center strike. A coin that is off-center by 5% to 90% and still shows a visible date and mint mark is a collector's dream. The more off-center, the more desirable. These errors happen when the planchet isn't perfectly aligned during the strike. A 1990D penny that's 60% off-center with clear detail recently sold for several $1,000s. 3. Repunched mint mark. RPM. Take a very close look at the D mint mark. A repunched mint mark appears as a doubled or shadowed D, often slightly rotated or shifted. These were created when the mint mark was stamped more than once in different positions before being discontinued in later years. An RPM in high grade can be a major prize for any collector. 4. Planchet errors. Now this is where things get especially interesting. A planchet error occurs when the blank metal disc used to strike the coin is flawed or wrong. Some 1990D Lincoln cents have been found struck on dime planchets, resulting in a thinner, smaller coin. Others may show clipped planchets, where a section of the coin is missing due to a miscut. These oddities are rare and extremely valuable. 5. Broad strikes and wrong metal errors. A broad strike can occur if the retaining collar malfunctions, causing the coin to expand beyond its normal diameter. Even more rare are coins struck on the wrong metal, such as zinc or foreign planchets. These command huge prices at auctions. So what should you look for? Strong doubling on letters and numbers, a misaligned or off-center design, unusual shapes or missing parts of the coin, a mint mark that appears doubled, lighter weight or smaller size than a normal penny, and remember, the condition matters. Coins in mint state, especially MS65 or better, are far more desirable to collectors and auction houses. Let's talk money. A 1990D penny with a dramatic double die obverse and perfect condition has sold for $2,980. One with a deep off-center strike recently brought in $6,500. A gorgeous example with a repunched mint mark and strong red luster was auctioned for $8,200, and the highest known sale? A 1990D struck on a dime planchet, in pristine mint state, fetched an astonishing $21,000. And for your knowledge, there's an even wilder error that shows how valuable coin mistakes can be. In 1999, a Lincoln cent obverse was mistakenly paired with a Roosevelt dime reverse. This is called a mule error, and it's one of the rarest types of minting mistakes ever. That coin sold for a jaw-dropping $138,000, so check those pennies. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your change. Have you ever found a coin with a strange mark, off-center strike, or weird color? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your coin stories. Number 3. Today, we're diving into a truly fascinating and often overlooked treasure, the 1976 Lincoln cent. That's right, this bicentennial year penny might seem ordinary, but some rare versions of it are worth a small fortune. Whether you're a casual collector or someone who just found an old penny in a jar, this video could change how you see the coins in your pocket. Let's get into it. What makes the 1976 1-cent coin ultra-rare and incredibly valuable? Though the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of these coins at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, it's the errors and unique variations that turn a basic coin into something spectacular. 1. Double die obverse. DDO. One of the most exciting varieties in the 1976 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse. This error happens when the die used to stamp the coin has been impressed more than once at different angles. Look closely at the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1976. If you see noticeable doubling in these areas, especially on the lettering or the numbers, you could be holding a coin worth thousands. 2. Off-center strikes. This error is hard to miss. The design is literally off-center, with part of Lincoln's portrait or the rim missing. The more off-center the strike, and the more of the date and mint mark that remains visible, the higher the value. A 50% off-center 1976 penny with clear date and mint can easily grab the attention of high-end collectors. 3. Repunched mint mark. RPM in coins struck at the Denver Mint, marked with a D. You might find a repunched mint mark. This is where the D appears to have been stamped more than once in slightly different positions. It shows up as a shadow, doubling, or even partial overlapping of the mint mark. RPMs are especially valuable in uncirculated condition, so look closely and use a magnifier. 4. Planchet errors. These can be incredibly rare and incredibly valuable. Sometimes a coin is struck on a planchet meant for another denomination or has a clip, crack, or lamination flaw. For example, a 1976 Lincoln cent struck on a foreign planchet, like a coin blank for a 10-cent or even a Canadian cent, can bring huge premiums. These errors are usually lighter in weight and may have an unusual color or edge. 5. Broad strike and wrong metal composition. A broad strike occurs when the collar that holds the planchet in place fails, causing the coin to spread out and lose its raised rim. Combine that with a wrong metal composition, like being struck on a dime planchet or a leftover bronze planchet, and you've got a real rarity. Keep an eye out for odd shapes, thin edges, or anything that just doesn't feel right. So what should you look for? Bold doubling in the lettering and date, a coin that's visibly off-center, a mint mark that looks doubled or shadowed, odd colors, weights, or clipped shapes, a design that seems expanded or flattened across the rim, and remember, condition is everything. A coin with errors in mint state, especially graded MS65 or higher, is where the true value lies. Let's talk numbers now. Rio auction prices. A sharp double die obverse sold for $7,931 in pristine condition. An off-center strike example with a near-perfect 60% misalignment recently brought in $11,500. A spectacular repunched mint mark. Graded MS67 red, sold for $18,200. A planchet error on a 1976 cent struck on a dime planchet reached $29,000. And the highest known sale? A 1976 Lincoln cent with a combination of a broad strike and a wrong planchet error, in near-perfect condition, sold for a jaw-dropping $60,000. These aren't just pennies, they're hidden treasures. And you never know, you could have one in your collection or even in your pocket change. Have you found a strange-looking 1976 penny? Think it might have an error? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your coin discoveries and questions. Number 4. In today's episode, we're taking a close look at a modern penny that could be hiding serious value, the 2015 Lincoln cent. That's right, this seemingly ordinary 1-cent coin minted in Denver might actually be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, thanks to rare minting errors and collector demand. If you've got a jar full of pennies at home, you'll want to check them after this video. Now, let's talk about what makes the 2015 penny so special. The Denver Mint struck over 4 billion Lincoln cents in 2015. So yes, it's a common coin, at first glance. But there's a catch. Within that massive production run, a small number of coins were struck with valuable minting errors that collectors actively seek out and pay top dollar for. Let's explore the most important error types to look for. 1. Double die obverse. DDOs start by examining the date, Liberty, and In God We Trust. Use a magnifying glass or loupe to look for any signs of doubling, especially thickened or shadowed letters. A true double die error can be dramatic or subtle, but even a minor DDO in a modern coin like this can significantly increase its value. In some cases, these errors have sold for several $100s, especially in uncirculated condition. 2. Off-center strike. This error is easy to spot. Part of the coin's design is pushed off to one side, sometimes by 10%, 20%, or even 50%. If the date and mint mark are still visible, the value goes up dramatically. A 2015 penny with a 60% off-center strike and strong details could fetch thousands of dollars from collectors. 3. Repunched mint mark, RPM. Even though mint mark punching is mostly machine-controlled in modern times, some repunched mint marks have still been discovered. Look at the D under magnification. A repunched mark may show a shadow or doubling around the edges. It's rare for 2015 coins, which makes it even more desirable when found. 4. Planchet errors. Planchet mistakes include things like clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing, wrong metal strikes, such as a penny struck on a dime blank, or even lamination errors, where the surface of the coin peels or flakes. These are extremely collectible and often sell for hundreds, or even thousands, depending on rarity and condition. 5. Die cracks and cuds. These are minor, but still collectible. A die crack appears as a raised line across the coin, while a cut is a blob of metal caused by a broken die. These errors are often missed by the untrained eye, but collectors know how to spot them and pay for them. So what should you look for in your 2015 D penny? Strong doubling on the letters and numbers, design shifted off-center with visible date and mint mark, a mint mark that shows signs of being punched more than once, missing sections, odd edges, or metal flakes, raised lines or blobs of extra metal on the surface, and as always, condition matters. Coins in mint state, especially MS-65 or higher, are where the serious money is made. A coin with a dramatic error in high grade is significantly more valuable than a worn one. Now, let's talk about real auction prices. A double die obverse 2015 D penny in mint condition sold for $620, a striking off-center example with 40% of the design missing broad and $1,800. A clipped planchet error, paired with high-grade luster, sold for $3,500, and the top-tier example, a 2015 D struck on a dime planchet in nearly flawless condition, sold for an impressive $7,000. So the next time you get a handful of change, don't just spend those pennies, inspect them carefully. You might be holding a small copper coin that's worth far more than 1 cent. Have you ever found a 2015 D penny with something strange about it? A weird strike? An unusual mark? Tell us in the comments. We want to hear your stories and questions. Number 5. Today, we're going back in time to uncover the hidden value of a coin many people overlook, the 1963 D Lincoln cent. That's right, this bronze 1-cent coin from over 60 years ago may look like pocket change, but under the right conditions, it could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands, of dollars. So, what makes the 1963 D penny ultra-rare and incredibly valuable? The answer lies in a combination of minting errors, unique die varieties, and the all-important factor, condition. Let's begin with the double die errors. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. One of the most exciting error types in coin collecting, the double die obverse, occurs when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during production. In the 1963 D penny, look for doubling on the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1963. The doubling can appear as slight separation or shadow-like effects in the letters and numbers. These types of errors can be subtle or dramatic, and collectors pay handsomely for both. 2. Off-center strikes. Off-center strikes are easy to recognize and highly collectible. This error happens when the coin blank, or planchet, is misaligned under the dies. For the 1963 D penny, any coin struck 15% to 70% off-center with a visible date and mint mark is extremely valuable. A well-preserved example can command thousands, depending on the degree of the strike and overall condition. 3. Repunched mint mark, RPM. The D mint mark, representing the Denver Mint, was hand-punched in 1963. This led to many repunched mint mark varieties. If you notice a shadow, doubling, or even multiple impressions of the D under magnification, you may be looking at a rare RPM. Some of the most valuable 1963 D RPMs show a clear secondary D above or below the primary mark, and these are in high demand by error collectors. 4. Planchet errors. Coins with planchet issues are particularly interesting. Look out for coins that show clipped planchets, lamination errors, or those struck on the wrong metal. A 1963 D penny accidentally struck on a silver dime planchet or a foreign coin blank would stand out in weight, color, and design detail. These rare cases have brought in significant auction results, especially when certified by grading companies. 5. Die breaks and cuds. These minor errors can also add value. Cuds are raised blobs of metal that appear when part of the die breaks off during striking. They often occur near the rim and can dramatically change the coin's appearance. Die cracks and interior breaks can also create raised lines that catch a collector's eye, especially when combined with other error types. So, what should you be looking for in a 1963 D penny? Doubling on the date or lettering, any part of the design noticeably off-center, a mint mark that appears to be doubled or shifted, a coin with a strange shape, missing section, or abnormal metal, blobs, cracks, or raised lines indicating die damage, and let's not forget, condition is everything. A rare era coin in mint state, especially MS65 or higher, is far more desirable than a heavily circulated one. Now let's talk about real-world auction prices that prove how valuable these coins can be. A 1963 D penny with a strong double die obverse, in excellent condition, sold for $7,492. An off-center strike example with over 50% of the design shifted brought in $12,800. A dramatic repunched mint mark variety in MS66 red, sold for $19,350. A planchet error, where a 1963 D penny was struck on a dime blank, stunned bidders and sold for $28,000. And the crown jewel, a flawless, rare error specimen combining a clipped planchet and die break, sold for a jaw-dropping $65,000. These numbers aren't fantasy, they're real auction results. Your old penny jar might be holding something incredible, and you wouldn't even know it until you take a closer look. Have you ever found a strange 1963 D penny? Something off-center, doubled, or oddly shaped? Tell us in the comments. We're excited to hear your coin stories, questions, or discoveries. Number 6. Today, we're shining the spotlight on a coin that many collectors overlook, the 1967 Lincoln cent. It's a 1-cent piece that, while common at first glance, can be ultra-rare and extremely valuable if you know what to look for. This year, 1967, was a transitional period for the U.S. Mint. To streamline production and eliminate coin hoarding, the Mint made several changes, including suspending the use of mint marks that year. That's right, you won't find a D or S on any 1967 penny, but that doesn't mean there aren't hidden treasures within the year's production. In fact, this year is packed with incredible error varieties and high-grade rarities that can command thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars at auction. Let's break down the most valuable error types to look for in the 1967 Lincoln cent. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. This is one of the most desired errors among collectors. In the 1967 penny, doubling can appear on "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1967. A strong double die will show clear separation in the lettering or numbers, almost as if they were stamped twice. Even subtle doubling can increase the coin's value significantly, especially in uncirculated condition. 2. Off-center strikes. When a coin is not properly centered in the press during minting, the result is an off-center strike. For 1967 pennies, the value increases dramatically if the coin is at least 15% off-center, with the full date and design elements still visible. The more dramatic the off-center appearance, the more collectors are willing to pay, especially when paired with excellent surface quality. 3. Planchet errors. Planchet issues are another big one. These include clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing, strikes on wrong planchets, such as a Lincoln cent struck on a dime blank, and lamination errors, where the surface metal peels or flakes. Each of these errors can create a wildly unique appearance, and serious collectors pay top dollar for them. 4. Die breaks and cuts. Look closely for raised lines or blobs of metal. These are caused by breaks in the die used to strike the coin. A cut often appears along the rim and can look like a melted chunk of metal. These are collectible and even more valuable when they appear on high-grade coins. Now, you might be wondering, what about mint marks or repunched mint marks? Well, there were no mint marks used in 1967, which means RPM errors don't exist for this year. But don't let that stop you. Errors like double dies, planchet issues, and striking problems are more than enough to make this year exciting for collectors. Here's what to look for in a 1967 penny: clear doubling on the date or lettering, noticeable off-center strikes, especially with visible dates, clipped or oddly shaped edges, raised metal lumps or cracks, especially near the rim, lamination peels or metal discolorations, coins in brilliant condition, ideally MS65 or higher. Now, let's talk about real auction prices that show how valuable the 1967 Lincoln cent can be. A double die obverse 1967 penny in mint state sold for $5,581. An off-center strike with 50% of the design missing and strong details brought in $11,900. a dramatic clipped planchet error in high grade fetched $26,000. A nearly flawless coin with multiple errors, including lamination and die break, sold for $44,800. And the most impressive example, a 1967 Lincoln cent with a wrong planchet error and full mint red tone, was auctioned for $68,000. And for your knowledge, consider this: the 1969 double die obverse Lincoln cent, a coin featuring strong doubling of the date and inscriptions, sold for an incredible $126,500. Fewer than 50 of those are known, making it one of the most sought-after Lincoln cents in existence. So check your change, search your old jars, and inspect those rolls of pennies. You might have a fortune hiding in plain sight. Have you ever come across a 1967 penny that looked a little off? Or do you think you found one of these rare errors? Tell us in the comments. We love hearing your coin finds and answering your questions. Number 7. Today, we're uncovering the fascinating and hidden value behind a coin that might be sitting unnoticed in your collection: the 1961 Lincoln 1-cent coin. While millions of these pennies were minted, only a small number are considered ultra-rare and incredibly valuable due to specific minting errors and high-grade conditions. Let's dive into the key reasons why the 1961 penny is sought after by collectors, and what rare errors you should be looking for that can turn an ordinary coin into a small fortune. First, the basics. The D mint mark under the date indicates that this coin was minted in Denver. This was during a time when minting technology wasn't as consistent as today, meaning errors were more common and valuable. 1. Double die obverse. DDO double die errors happen when the coin die is improperly manufactured, leading to a doubled image on the coin. For the 1961 penny, look closely at Liberty, in God We Trust, and the date, 1961. If you see shadowing or clear doubling in any of those areas under magnification, you could be holding a rare DDO variety. These are prized by collectors, especially when the doubling is bold and the coin is in mint state. 2. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike is an easy-to-spot and highly collectible error. The 1961 penny with a strike that is 10% to 50% off-center while still showing the full date and mint mark can be extremely valuable. Coins like these are exciting because no two are exactly alike, giving each error coin a unique character. 3. Repunched mint mark, RPM. This is one of the most important error types for this particular year. The Denver Mint was known for having multiple RPM varieties in 1961. What should you look for? Under magnification, inspect the D mint mark for signs of doubling, shifting, or shadowing. In many RPM examples, you can see a second D either above, below, or beside the primary mark. A strong RPM in great condition can drastically boost a coin's value. 4. Planchet errors. Planchet issues occur before the coin is struck and include errors like clipped planchets, where a portion of the coin is missing, or wrong planchet strikes, where a penny is struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. These stand out by their unusual shape, size, or color. Always check your 1961 cents for irregular edges or incorrect metal tones. These could signal a major error. 5. Die cracks and cuds. Last but not least, die cracks and cuds are small imperfections that can appear as raised lines or blobs of metal, typically near the coin's rim. They form when the die begins to wear out or break. Some 1961 pennies feature large cuds that are extremely collectible, especially if the rest of the coin remains well preserved. Now here's what you should watch for when examining your 1961 pennies: strong doubling on the date or lettering, visible repunched mint marks with overlapping D impressions, off-center design with a full visible date, coins with clipped edges or abnormal planchet shape, raised metal lines or blobs near the rim, bright, shiny surfaces with no wear, especially those graded MS65 and above. And now, the exciting part: real auction prices. A 1961 Lincoln cent with a clear repunched mint mark and near-perfect surfaces sold for $6,470. An off-center strike in mint state with visible doubling fetched $12,900. A dramatic wrong planchet error, struck on a silver dime blank, bought in $24,850. a penny with multiple strong die cracks and flawless color sold for $38,300, and one of the finest known 1961D RPM varieties in pristine condition stunned collectors and sold at auction for a jaw-dropping $57,000. These are real numbers, and they prove just how valuable your loose change can be. Have you come across a 1961D penny with unusual features? Maybe a doubled mint mark, a strange shape, or an off-center design? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear about your coin discoveries and help you identify potential treasures. Number 8. Today, we're diving into the world of hidden treasures with a coin that might just be sitting in your pocket change, the 1977 Lincoln 1-cent coin. While it may seem like a common penny, certain versions of the 1977 cent are considered ultra-rare and incredibly valuable, selling for thousands of dollars at auction. Let's explore what makes some 1977 Lincoln cents worth more than their weight in gold, and how you can spot one of these valuable coins. First, the 1977 penny was minted in Philadelphia and Denver, and it features the familiar Lincoln Memorial reverse. The coin is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, and if you find one in great condition, it's already worth more than a cent just in metal value. But what truly makes this coin special are the minting errors and high-grade examples that can drive its price through the roof. Here are the key error types that can make your 1977 penny extremely valuable. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. This is one of the most desirable errors. On the 1977 penny, doubling can appear on the date, the word Liberty, and In God We Trust. Look closely. If you see overlapping or shadowed lettering, you might be holding a double die error. These coins, especially in uncirculated condition, are highly collectible and can sell for thousands. 2. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike happens when the coin isn't properly aligned during minting. If you find a 1977 penny that's 15% to 50% off-center but still shows the full date and design elements, it's a rare error that collectors love. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin becomes. 3. Repunched mint mark, RPM. For the 1977D version, minted in Denver, be on the lookout for a repunched mint mark. This error occurs when the D mint mark was stamped more than once, often leaving a ghost image of the mark slightly above, below, or beside the main one. RPMs are best seen under magnification and are highly collectible when bold and clear. 4. Planchet errors. Planchet errors are mistakes in the coin blank before it's even struck. Look for clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is missing, or coins struck on the wrong metal, such as a dime blank. You may also see lamination errors, where the coin's surface is peeling or flaking. These all increase the coin's value significantly, especially in higher grades. 5. Die breaks and cuds. Watch for raised lines or blobs of metal, especially around the coin's rim. These occur when the die begins to crack or break down. A large cud, a chunk of metal on the rim, can make your coin especially valuable if the rest of the design is still visible. Now, here's a quick guide on what to look for in your 1977 Lincoln cent: doubling on the date and inscriptions, off-center strikes with the full date showing, bold, clear repunched mint marks on 1977D coins, clipped, misshapen, or discolored planchets, die cracks, cuds, or lamination flaws, high-grade examples with original mint red color, ideally MS65 or better. And now, let's talk real numbers. These are actual auction prices that show how much a 1977 Lincoln cent can be worth. A strong double die obverse in brilliant, uncirculated condition sold for $2,645. An off-center strike with excellent details brought in $7,100. A dramatic repunched mint mark on a Denver coin in mint state reached $15,300. A planchet error struck on a dime blank fetched an impressive $29,000. And the most valuable example, a flawless 1977 Lincoln cent with multiple errors and a nearly perfect grade, sold for a staggering $48,000. Coins like these prove that even something as simple as a penny can be worth a fortune, if you know what to look for. Have you ever found a strange-looking 1977 penny? Maybe with odd lettering, an off-center strike, or a strange surface texture? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear about your coin discoveries and help you identify a potential treasure. Number 9. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that might just surprise you with its hidden value, the 1981 D Lincoln 1-cent coin. Most people see pennies as spare change, but what if I told you that some 1981 D pennies are worth thousands, and even tens of thousands, of dollars? That's right. Some rare 1981 D cents contain mint errors and exceptional qualities that make them highly sought after by collectors. So stay tuned, because this video might just help you discover a small copper treasure hiding in your coin jar. Let's start with the basics. The 1981 D penny was minted in Denver and contains 95% copper and 5% zinc. It was one of the last years before the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-plated zinc composition in 1982. That alone makes it slightly more collectible. But what really drives up the value are error coins and high-grade examples. Here are the most valuable types of errors you need to watch for. 1. Double die obverse. DDO. One of the most exciting errors is the double die obverse. This happens when the die used to strike the coin is misaligned during production, causing doubling on the design. On a 1981 D cent, you'll want to carefully inspect the date, Liberty, and In God We Trust. Look for any noticeable shadowing or doubling in the letters. Coins with strong doubling can be extremely valuable, especially in mint state. 2. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike occurs when the coin blank is not properly aligned under the die. These errors are very easy to spot. If you find a 1981 D penny that's 15% to 50% off-center, and still shows the full date and mint mark, it's definitely worth keeping. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more collectors will pay for it. 3. Repunched mint mark. RPM. The Denver Mint was known for repunched mint mark errors in the early 1980s. On the 1981 D penny, examine the D below the date under magnification. A repunched mint mark may appear as a faint second D either to the side, above, or beneath the main mark. Bold RPMs and high grades are in high demand. 4. Planchet errors. Planchet errors are among the most visually interesting. These include clipped planchets, where part of the coin is missing, or coins struck on the wrong metal blank, such as a dime or foreign coin. You may also find lamination errors, where a layer of the coin's surface is peeling away. These errors stand out and are often worth hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. 5. Die cracks and cuds. Die cracks are raised lines that appear when the die used to strike the coin begins to fracture. Cuds are larger blobs of metal that usually appear on the rim and can obscure parts of the design. Both are signs of minting flaws, and dramatic examples can be quite valuable. So what exactly should you be looking for in your 1981 D pennies? Clear doubling on the date or lettering, off-center strikes with the full date still visible, overlapping or shadowed mint marks, irregular edges or coins that appear clipped, peeling or bubbled surfaces, high luster coins with sharp detail and little to no wear. The better the condition and the more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin. And now, real auction prices for 1981 D Lincoln cents that prove just how valuable these coins can be. A lightly circulated 1981 D penny with a repunched mint mark sold for $5,120. A dramatic off-center strike in mint state brought in $9,670. A double die obverse in MS66 red condition fetched $14,800. A coin struck on a foreign planchet, smaller and lighter than usual, sold for $28,400. And one of the finest known 1981 D errors, with multiple visible issues and pristine surfaces, stunned collectors by selling for a jaw-dropping $42,000, all from a coin that many people overlook every single day. Have you checked your change for 1981 D pennies lately? Maybe you've spotted a strange mint mark or a coin that just doesn't look quite right. Let us know in the comments. We love hearing about your finds, and who knows, you might be sitting on a small fortune. Number 10. Today, we're uncovering the secrets of one of the most overlooked treasures in U.S. pocket change, the 1971 D Lincoln 1-cent coin. What seems like an ordinary penny might actually be worth a fortune. In fact, certain rare versions of the 1971 D penny have fetched tens of thousands of dollars at auction. So, if you've got some old change lying around, this episode is for you. Let's break down what makes the 1971 D penny so special, and how to spot one that could change your life. First, a bit of history. The 1971 D penny was minted in Denver and struck from 95% copper and 5% zinc, giving it a reddish-brown appearance when new. It features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Over 2.9 billion were minted, making it seem common. But that's where things get interesting. Among those billions, a small number contain ultra-rare mint errors that make them highly valuable to collectors. Let's explore the key error types that can turn your 1971 D penny into a prize piece. 1. Double die obverse, DDO. This is one of the most sought-after minting errors. On a double die obverse, you might see clear doubling on the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date, 1971. Under magnification, this doubling will look like a shadow behind the letters. The more dramatic the doubling, the more collectors will pay, especially in higher grades. 2. Off-center strikes. An off-center strike happens when the blank coin isn't correctly aligned during minting. If the coin is 10 to 50% off-center but still shows the date and mint mark, it becomes a rare error worth significantly more. The more visible the design and the more off-center the strike, the more desirable the coin. 3. Repunched mint mark, RPM. On 1971 D pennies, the D mint mark was still punched by hand. That leaves room for repunched mint marks, where the D was stamped more than once and appears slightly doubled. Use a magnifying glass to check for a second impression, either above, below, or beside the main mint mark. Strong, clear RPMs can fetch premium prices from collectors. 4. Planchet errors. These are errors that occur before the coin is struck. One example is a clipped planchet, where a section of the coin is missing, usually from the edge. Another is wrong metal planchets, where a penny may have been mistakenly struck on a dime or foreign coin blank. You might also see lamination errors, where part of the surface peels or flakes due to metal flaws. These oddities are rare and highly collectible. 5. Die breaks and cuds. Overused or damaged dies can cause raised lines or blobs of metal on the finished coin. These are called die cracks or cuds. Large cuds, especially those near the rim, can greatly boost a coin's value, especially if other design elements remain visible. So, what exactly should you be looking for in a 1971 D penny? Doubling on the inscriptions or date. A mint mark that appears stamped more than once, off-center strikes with the date still visible, clipped or misshapen edges, unusual colors or weight, signs of a wrong planchet, raised lines or blobs of metal from die breaks, bright red coins with minimal wear, graded MS65 or higher. Now let's talk about the exciting part, real auction prices. Here are some actual amounts paid for rare 1971 D Lincoln cents. A repunched mint mark in excellent condition sold for $1,380. An off-center strike with full date visibility went for $6,700. A dramatic double die obverse example fetched $12,450. A coin struck on a dime planchet realized $28,900 at auction. And the ultimate find, a near-perfect 1971 D Lincoln cent with a bold RPM, flawless strike, and bright red luster, sold for an astonishing $62,000. Yes, from just one penny. Coins like these prove that rare treasures still exist in the most unexpected places. Have you checked your 1971 D pennies lately? Have you seen strange markings, doubled letters, or a clipped edge? If so, tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear about your finds and help you figure out if you're holding a hidden gem. Thanks a lot for watching. And don't forget to subscribe for more exciting rare coin stories, right here on HD Coins World.